connecting your brain and body with interactive games and tests. Why is there no physical activity in today's health physical? Trazer is an holistic technology used to rehabilitate, prevent falls, and improve sport performance. Trazer reports provide you, your clinician, your physical therapist, or athletic trainer objective data to make decisions on your health and performance over time. Measure what matters to change your game. Take the Trazer Challenge. Confidence, growth, connected by Trazer.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the sports arena. And if you were fortunate enough to join us right as we started, we're saying a happy birthday to the Black Mamba. Today would have been Kobe Bryant's 43rd birthday. And at the end of the show tonight, we're going to take a moment and just, for a few, talk about, the legacy of Kobe Bean Bryant, the Black Mamba. But with that being said, let me get the entire crew in here. First off, as always, our girl, the Queen of Hoops, Miss Megan Price is in the building. Megan, what's going on?
Oh, having a great day. How about you?
I'm doing well.
Awesome.
Hope all is well. I see you still repping that Texas stuff. So, I'm
forever.
Longhorns. Okay. I'm good with the Longhorns. All right.
Okay,
I'm cool with that. Let me get my man, Mr. Say What, Say It Again, every Tuesday night at 8:30. The one and only Mr. Ty Ray. Ty Ray, what's up, brother? How are you?
What's going on, man?
You all right? I know this might be a little bit of a difficult day for you, remembering our man, Kobe Bryant. How you doing?
Yeah, most definitely, man. Today's just a busy day in general. First day of school here, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna keep you too late tonight, bro. Let me get everybody else in here. This is Fox Sports 1340 AM. Mr. John Shears in the building. What's up, John?
Hey, how's it going? We got a lot to talk about, including Kobe Bryant. So that should be an interesting topic.
Yeah. Let me get Mr. Alex Fleming in here, NSPN, Florida Sun, the man all over the place. Alex, what's up, man?
Hopefully this week we have less moistness. We had some sensitivity last week, and I didn't see Ralph Tresvant, but it's a new week, new day.
That's all right. Tonight I'm going to be a stone cold gentleman for you, baby. I got you. Last but not least, let me get him in here. Believe in the Pac-12 podcast. This is Mr. Michael Carrot-Snudo wearing that damn Cowboys hat.
What's up, Mike? What's up, man? I just did it for you.
Don't lie.
I know you like.
Don't lie.
I know you like different style.
Don't lie. Don't even try. Don't even try it.
All for
Looks
you,
great.
my friend. Thank you, Megan. Thank you.
You
Megan,
should give him
it
some
would-
Dallas lingerie, see how that works out.
Megan,
Oh.
it would look good if you wore it. I'm just gonna put it like that, okay?
By the way, Eric, I have an
Yes, sir.
interesting Eagles stat that I would like to throw at you a little bit later on that I think that you'll like. I'm not sure if you saw it, but it's an interesting Eagles stat I saw today.
right. Fair enough. We'll see what's going on. Shout out to everybody chiming in here, especially our man James Tatum. What's up, man? How are you? Good to see you. And he agrees with you. Take that hat off there, Mike. See, he agrees with you.
James, it's okay, buddy. You can go get a terrible hat and wear it. I won't say a word.
Well, I mean, he
Sorry.
is in the Eagles fandom, so
See?
Oh,
That's why he invited to the cookout. See, look at him. Already started. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Fly to the
So,
basement
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
We shall see. We shall see.
with some
Let's,
cheesesteaks, right, Alex?
Let's, uh,
Cheesesteaks, right, Alex?
Let's, let's go ahead and get started, y'all. So I want to start talking about the return of Miss Delle Donne to the Washington Mystics. Miss Megan Price, as always, you have done a phenomenal job covering the Dallas Wings and the WNBA, putting a lot of us fellas to shame. I'll be the first to say that. But I just wanted to talk to you for a moment and get your thoughts on, her return, what you saw, and then more importantly, what this means for the Washington Mystics as the WNBA is currently in the second half of their season.
Right. And so the Mystics are in 10th place right now. They are one game behind Dallas and then a game and a half behind LA. So they are not far from being in playoff contention. The thing about Delle Donne that a lot of people, it's been 680 some odd days since we've seen her on the court. So, when she got injured, she was really the face of the WNBA. She was the reigning MVP at the time. This was her second MVP, and she was the first person to ever do that with two different teams. And that was also her season that she delivered the 50-40-90 season. So she's one of 9 people in that club, and she's the only female. She injured her back. During this season, she had 3 herniated discs playing, and she delivered that type of season. She has played her entire career with Lyme disease, and so she might have tried to return last season, but she had her most recent back surgery in December. But when COVID happened, she didn't get medical clearance or exemption to sit out, and she sat out anyway because, Lyme disease is very serious. And the Mystics paid her anyway. Love that move by them.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see what her, as you and I were talking about in the chat today, what her and Tina Charles are going to do continuing on with this, with the rest of this season. So, gentlemen, I will defer to you. Please go ahead, Mr. Fleming.
I actually watched that game, believe it or not. And she was going up against Stewie and Sue Bird, the GOAT. Mm-hmm. And she was hesitant in the first half. She only made 1 bucket, but it was a turnaround fadeaway jumper. So it lets people know you still got it. She came alive in the second half, but she finished the game with 16 points, 5 of 11 shooting, almost double-digit rebounds, not quite. But that's a hell of a comeback for someone who hasn't played in 683 days.
Right.
She's going to be sharp, and I think they're going to sneak in and get that last playoff spot.
Wow.
And what I really liked.
Go ahead, Megan.
What I really liked was her comments about Westbrook and her time while he was there in Washington. We know that his work ethic is something very strong, and that's something that I've always respected. Whether you like Westbrook or not, he is at practice all the time working on his craft. And he was there helping Delle Donne rehab. And I love that. I love that. And I can't wait to see what her and Tina do. But also Natasha Cloud said that she was just really happy to have her Batman back. I guess she feels like she's the Robin, and Delle Donne is just really one of the big faces of the WNBA. And it was just really exciting to see her back on the court.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, no. I didn't. I watched the second half of the game because East West Coast times, I got confused, after all these years. I'll let you make fun of that. But no, that being said, like they were saying, she struggled in the first half and when they showed highlights. But for her first game back, she looked really good. And then I was going to touch on that too, because I read obviously a lot of Westbrook being involved, like when he's there. And I agree with Megan. That's just how Westbrook is. I love that kid since his days at UCLA. But yeah, no, I think she looked good. I'm with Alex. I think they can. They got a little bit of work to do, but like you said in the chat, Eric, you look at the standings in the East. They get hot when 3 out of 4, 4 out of 7, like they can make the playoffs. It's to them. I think with her back and starting to get her game legs under her, just like any, when people say in this case, it's just about getting in the playoffs. Normally, the seedings obviously Vegas is going to be tough. We know Seattle and the Mercury. They'll be there too, so they'll be punching around. Even though I know Skylar Diggins-Smith is listed day to day now, she got banged up the other night, so that kind of sucks. But no, for Delle Donne, again, I guess I cheated. I got the Cliff Notes, Alex, and I watched the second half, and she looked really good. I think for her first game back, listen to the interview, she looked really good in the second half. And like I said, I'm happy to see her back. And like Megan touched on last year when the Mystics decided to pay her, I think we talked about that, Eric, too. Like that's the right move because she was annoyed. She was willing to sign a waiver too. And I remember reading all about that. She wanted to sign the waiver to go play in the bubble, but like you said, with Lyme disease, I mean, even though they were in a bubble, they couldn't chance that. I mean, that's just a huge, you talk about doctors getting malpractice last week. That's just a huge lawsuit for the WNBA. Even if they let her play.
And again, Mike, this is no disrespect to the current state that I live in, but Florida, I will say, has been a little lax, if you will, with regards to what is going on with the pandemic. So I would not want a superstar such as herself to come down here and, number one, have to be quarantined for any number of period of time. But then also, number two, if her injury was to sideline her even further, it would not have made sense for her to be here. Yes, I'm sure she wanted to be a part of the team and support and everything, but
and lastly, I have to eat a little crow because I said last year that if she wants to sign and her doctors are good with it, because I know they were going back and forth that they should let her play. And I said, even though it is serious, if her doctors are okay with it, but you're right, the whole quarantine, the whole not knowing what it could do, especially if it accelerated with that. So I eat crow because I was on her side, but I'm glad she's back now.
Right.
Well, listen, she's an athlete and she wanted to play. So there was nothing about that. And we can never fault her for that. So with that, I want to transition right into our next topic because I think this one's going to be a little heated for most of us. I don't know where the echo is coming from. So whoever can mute me on their thing, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. But something that I think we need to talk about. As this season gets ready to kick off in the NFL, COVID is still very rampant and very wild, running wild, if you will. And it has no, it's an equal opportunity disease. And so I just want to talk to each one of you about this because we have several players in the NFL, several high profile players in the NFL who are not choosing to get the vaccine. And again, let me be abundantly clear. That is their choice. That is their right to do or not to do. All of us on this panel have our opinion. We're not going to express how we feel about it because it's none of y'all's business. Let me be very clear about that. But when you look at the NFL, it is a job. It is an opportunity for 1,553 players to do something that many of us wish we could or even have the opportunity to do on that level. I just want to take a moment and talk to y'all about this because there are certain high-profile players who still have not gotten the vaccine. Some have gotten a case of COVID twice. How is this all going to shake up once September 9th hits? Ty and John, I definitely want to hear from you guys about this.
You go first, John.
Yeah, I don't really think it changes too much because we went through an entire NFL season last year with nobody having the vaccine. We survived. We got to the playoffs, got to the Super Bowl. Yeah, things got jumbled up a little bit, but every single game was played. We didn't skip any games. We got through everything unscathed, and now we have the vaccine, and a lot more people are actually vaccinated than last year, which there was none. So we're a lot better off now than we were then, and we know a lot more about this thing. Still have a long ways to go in regards to COVID, but we know a lot more now than we did then. So I don't really think it's a big deal. There's still the risk, and the players that aren't getting it, you got to know the risks, and you got to know that if something happens and you get they pushed an extra week and that game doesn't get played, like we said a couple weeks ago, nobody gets paid. Not you, not the opposing team. Nobody gets paid. So remember that there's that consequence, and then you have to live with that. You're taking checks away from your guys, your coaches, the other team, everybody. So just remember that. At the same time, you're right. They should have the opportunity to do as they choose, and they just have to live with the consequences if a game is missed because of it or anything of that nature. So, but we got through it last year. So what's the deal this year? I mean, we're better off this year. So.
But are we really though? Ty, are we really better off this year than we were last year? Because last year games got pushed back. We had games pretty much every day of the week, if you will. We had a Monday game. We had a Tuesday game. I believe we even stretched out and had a Wednesday game, I think, one time. You know, we were playing games throughout the entire week. And, you know, we were thankful for it as fans, but as players, it was taking tolls on your body. So, Ty, I mean, yeah, are we better?
I think Alex had something he wanted to say. You had something, Alex? I thought I seen how you finger. I mean, I think we're better for a lot of the reasons that John said. For one, I can't fault guys for not wanting to put something in their body that they're not 100% sure about. So I don't fault them. Like you did say, we did have games on every day of the week last year, but we didn't miss a game. So I mean, I see it as being somewhat of a deal, but I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people think. I mean, having games on different days of the week it kept me intrigued last year. I was able to see football on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. How that song goes? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I was able to see it every day. So, I mean, I get it. Maybe that's not ideal in the ideal world, but we don't live in the ideal world anymore. Everything has changed as we know it. School is not what it used to be. Nothing is the same. So, I mean, yeah, the world has to evolve, has to adapt. I mean, this thing doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon.
All right. So then let me kick it over to Mr. Fleming, and I want to ask you, Alex, this question. One of the guys in particular that I am speaking of is someone who you've had the pleasure of meeting and interviewing, and that is Lamar Jackson. Now, Lamar has had 2 bouts with COVID, one last season and then one again during training camp this season. The outlook of the Baltimore Ravens, I feel, is they go as far as Lamar Jackson will take them. Now, if Lamar's not playing, what does that mean for the Baltimore Ravens? Because let's say, hypothetically, of course, that the NFL decides to say, well, if you're not vaccinated, you can't play because you're putting, as John alluded to, you're putting not only your team at risk, but you're putting the visiting team at risk, and no one can get paid if that game has to be forfeited.
Nice try. I want y'all to see this. John Scheer has one of these. It's a media press pass for Canton, Ohio. John and I.
The frizz.
I think we lost him. We will try and get Alex.
Can you see me? Can you see me?
We got you. Yep, we got you. Go ahead.
Let me try this. The NFL has forced all employees, keyword, employees, to be mandatory vaccinated. We saw an assistant coach of the Minnesota Vikings get fired because he didn't want to take players to do that because they're not a typical employee of.
We seem to be having a bit of a technical issue. We will definitely try and get him back in just a moment. But okay, Megan, I will go to you along those lines. If in fact Lamar Jackson doesn't play, what does that mean for the outlook of the Baltimore Ravens?
I absolutely agree that the Ravens go as far as Lamar goes. I think he has some bigger issues in his mentality of making it to the playoffs and what he does on that level. So if it were me, I can't say, but if it were me, I would just get vaccinated and keep trying to further my career. I guess I can say because, I had to get vaccinated to do certain things, to go to certain places, the All-Star game, you had to be vaccinated. If you wanted to be in the press conference with the commissioner, you had to be vaccinated. So it's just a part of life the way it is now today. And the NFL is a private employer. They can do what they want to do. It's the same thing that happened when people were protesting. Now, do we agree people have a right to protest? Absolutely. But the NFL is a private employer. They can do what they want to do. So that's what they're doing right now. And yes, it will look different. But you alluded to 1,500 players in the NFL? There'll be a next man up mentality. There's plenty of people that want your position. And so if you're willing to sit out this season, what's the rest of your career like? Is there going to be somebody better than you? Dak got Romo's position because Romo got hurt. Dak looked better. If Romo had never got hurt, when would we have seen Dak? The same way that Romo got his job, he lost his job. Bledsoe hurt his back.
My question is, why is there a different standard for the coaches and the players? Because coaches can get fired, but the players don't. Why is there a different standard?
Because the players are under a contract. You can't force them because they're not a typical employee. You can trade a player and void a player's contract in a heartbeat. That's why you can't force a player to get vaccinated. You can force a staff member, you can force a coach, because they're going to be part of that staff and they're synchronized with that staff. A player can't be cut before training camp. That's why I don't have a problem with Lamar Jackson catching it 2, 3, 4, 6 times. That's his prerogative. We all should be more aware of what we put in our bodies. And I'm no one's guinea pig. I'm not going to take a shot just because everybody else feels safer. If you feel safer that I'm taking a shot, then you're a fool, because I can.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a real quick break. We're having some technical issues. I'm going to see if I can get them worked out. So more with the Sports Arena in just a few moments. Stay tuned, guys.
At Fusion Sport, we're all about driving human performance. We develop and support a range of technologies all designed to assist people to be their best. SmarterBase is used by
Generations Physical Therapy has been the Tri-State's leader in physical therapy services for over 20 years. And now we have a convenient location right in the heart of the capital city of Charleston, just off I-64. With convenient parking and flexible hours, your access to physical therapy is second to none. Plus, Snap Fitness is also inside with 2 floors of gym equipment and sports enhancement training through A-Game Sports Performance. So whether you're needing hands-on physical therapy or looking to get results in our gym, our family's ready to help yours. Generations Physical Therapy and Snap Fitness. Multiple services, multiple locations. Experience you can count on.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the world of technology that doesn't work unless you make it work. But let me get the entire crew in here. Megan Price, say what, say it again. Ty Ray, Megan Price, flip flop. Megan Price is a sip off. Ty Ray is say what, say it again. Mike Caratanudo, Believe in the Pac-12 podcast. John Scheer, Fox Sports 1340 AM, and Alex Fleming, NSPN, and the Florida Sun. I think I got everybody back here. Everybody good? Everybody straight? I think so. All right. Let's keep it moving. So I want to come back to the COVID conversation with the NFL because, Alex, I think you were hitting on a couple of points that may have been missed, and I apologize. So please, if you will, just again about the employee piece, if you will, with NFL players, and then to John's point about why are coaches different than the actual athletes themselves.
Coach, active general managers, and staff is different from players. You cannot force players to be vaccinated because their contracts can be voided at any time. That's the difference between staff and employee. If Lamar Jackson doesn't want to get vaccinated, I don't blame him 2 bits. The Atlanta Falcons were the first team to be 100% vaccinated. You know what Falcons are doing this year? Nothing. Lamar Jackson has come back, not once but twice, from COVID. I think he'll be fine. We should all have a choice before we live in a communist state on whether or not to be vaccinated or not.
But I don't think that's what any of us are saying. I think that I do believe it's a person's right, but the NFL is a private employer that can do what they want to do.
But if it's a person's right and Lamar Jackson has the choice to, why does a coach lose his job? That doesn't make any sense. Why is that coach forced to put something in their body they don't want to, but Lamar Jackson or Cole Beasley are not? Why is that different? Because that's not fair. You're forcing somebody to put something in their body that they don't want to. And I don't care if they're the staff and they're the players. You're forcing this person. You're saying this person's better than this person. I get they're the meal ticket, but you shouldn't be forcing that person to put something in their body they don't want to. And then you give this person, you're like, oh yeah, that's different. That's way different. No, it should be the same. You're all in the NFL. It doesn't matter if you're a player or coach. You're all in the NFL. Why is it any different? Why do you lose your job and paychecks and being able to, provide for your family, but Lamar Jackson can still provide for his family and get COVID twice? How's that any different? I think that's stupid, and that's asinine.
Good point.
Again,
I just think that.
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh no, I was going to say that I get it. I mean, NFL, like we said from the beginning, NFL is a private corporation, so the players again don't have to get it, and they're not going to tell them that, oh, they can't play, but they know the consequence of not being vaccinated if they're the ones that. Again, now if they're saying if they're the ones that basically cause an outbreak and a team can't make up a game within the 18-week season or 17-week, well, the 18-week, 17 games, but 18 weeks, and within that time frame, then they can't. They're going to lose. Everybody's going to lose that game check. So those guys can still play if they cause the outbreak. I just want to hear, because I haven't heard the NFL address that if a vaccinated player again tests positive, because again there are different protocols now. If a vaccinated tests positive because of the new variant, what's going to? I know. As for Lamar Jackson, to answer your question about that, yes, obviously the Ravens look a lot different, and they're not going to be challenging for the division, conference, whatever, go to the Super Bowl if Lamar Jackson's not playing quarterback. So again, everybody's fine with everybody's personal choice, and if they've read and that's how they feel, that's fine. But to Megan's point, same thing with the NFL, man.
Hey, Mike, I'll raise you one. How about this? What if it's a coach that gets all the players sick, and that player or players have to forfeit the game because of somebody else, i.e. Mike Vrabel,
right?
Contracted COVID-19 and was all up in Brady's grill, who's all around the Tampa Bay Bucks, who's around his own team with the Tennessee Titans, that could cost not one, not two, not three, but 4 franchises to forfeit or get sick. Let's do some simple math. They played a preseason game. He was sick. He was probably sick Friday or Saturday. They found out Sunday. Tampa opens the season September 9th. He opens the season against the Arizona Cardinals. Who says he's going to be back or his players aren't already sick? Now you're jeopardizing the Arizona Cardinals the Dallas Cowboys, I was about to call them Mavericks, his own Tennessee Titans, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But we're worried about the players.
Well, hold on, Alex. They still have one more preseason game, though. They still have one more preseason game. Tampa's going to Houston to play the Texans. So before you get to opening night, let's talk about the fact that there are still teams that Tennessee and Tampa have to play this coming weekend for preseason. So you have Houston, and then I'm not sure who Tennessee plays in their last preseason game, but you have those teams who have the possibility of getting exposed, especially if Mike Vrabel is still on the sideline.
And
I don't think he will be. I mean, he's got to be gone. I mean, I know Cam's thing was a little different with the miscommunication, all that junk. But if Mike Vrabel has it, I mean, he has to be away from the team for at least 7 to 10 days, isn't it? Because if he was vaccinated, and got it, if the coaches are vaccinated and he got it, then obviously he won't be there. But yeah, Alex, I'm with you. I mean, if it's a coach that causes it, are they gonna blame the players? And again, that whole protocol I'm sure is set up, but all we've seen is if players do it, and that's what got out there. So if it's a coach that again comes down with it first, I bet you obviously the players union will obviously file something, because there's no way that if it's a coach's fault that they're not getting paid if it can't be made up. And to Ty's point earlier, and even yours, Eric, you can't sit there and play a game on a Tuesday or Wednesday now, because they say you have to make it up within the 18 weeks. That means you have to push somebody else's game back. Like when the Ravens played the Steelers late, then the Ravens played the Cowboys late last year too. So that was just one example. Obviously, Tennessee and Buffalo played, I think, that first one early on a Tuesday night, because players from Tennessee just came back and got cleared. So, I mean, it is interesting. Again, if a player causes it, Alex, I'm with you. I mean, it is a little bit of hypocrisy. If a coach causes it, I guarantee you the players usually files a grievance and they will get paid, because it's a coach that caused it.
Hey, Mike, wasn't Tennessee the McNasty that started this season last year with the whole COVID nonsense?
They practiced when they were told not to, and then they got COVID.
Yep.
And that was the players. That was the players.
They need to wash their hands too.
Well, let's keep it moving, because with the NFL season starting, I got to ask y'all a question, because we were talking about this in the chat and I found it very interesting. So I will ask this question and we'll just go around we'll go around the clock. Megan, then Ty, then John, then Alex, then Mike. I know it's already started, but which NFL coach do you feel is already on the hot seat? Miss Megan Price, who do you think?
Well, it should be Mike McCarthy.
Wow. I mean, I'm fine with that, but okay. All right. Ty, which NFL coach do you feel is on the hot seat already?
This is I don't know. I want to say this is a tough question, but I don't know. You might have to come back to me about it. I have to think about it for a second.
All right, we're going to skip 3, 4, hit 5, 6. John Scheer.
Where would you like me to start? I mean, Mike McCarthy should be. I think he should be. You could easily go with Matt Nagy. He definitely should be. I think Mike Zimmer should be. That team's underachieving. I think Sean Payton should be. I mean, let's see how he does. Not fully on the hot seat, but the seat should be somewhat warm. Give it maybe a little bit warm, because that team's going to underachieve this year, and I want to see how the organization reacts. Vic Fangio in Denver definitely should be. I think he's a terrible head coach. I think Urban Meyer should be. I think that should be a short leash for Urban Meyer in Jacksonville, because he's already looked bad to start. It hasn't looked great. I think that seat should be warm to start right off the bat. I think Zach Taylor for the Bengals his seat should be red hot. He's done nothing. And he's a prodigy, and he's done absolutely nothing. So there's plenty.
You putting every coach on a hot seat?
Yeah, I have a lot of coaches. I can keep going, but I'll let you guys know.
We got the point, John. Thank you.
That's my man first year on the hot seat.
Have you seen Urban Meyer yet?
You just put McCarthy at number 1 on that list.
Have you watched Urban Meyer so far? Did you see that Tim Tebow debacle?
I'm a little more worried about him hiring racist assistants.
How many NFL coaches would have pulled that move off? How many of the 31? Probably none. He's the only one.
A lot.
This isn't college.
All right. Okay.
This
Alex
is
Fleming.
NFL.
I guess I should have made that a little more clear. Which coach or coaches are on the hot seat? We went from 1 to come back to me to about, I think John gave me like 6 or 7.
I'll make up for it.
Hey, I thank you, John, for making up for it. Yeah, we can't be skipping questions. We should be ready for this. But you just name it off. Name. Like, damn, bro. Okay. Number 5.
There's
Zach
plenty
Taylor.
of people like Eric Bieniemy waiting. If you do your job, get the hell out. Thank you.
All right. Number 5, Zach Taylor. I agree. You got Jamar Chase instead of a damn offensive lineman and didn't protect your quarterback. Bum. And you haven't done anything in the AFC North. Number 4, you're the only coach who made it from my list last year. Mike Zimmer. If you don't have a winning record, you should be fired. Keeping that bum Kirk Cousins. Number 3,
Alex.
Matt Nagy. I have 5. I'm on number 3. Matt Nagy, Chicago Bears. Yeah, sooner or later you're going to have to start Fields. Make the right decision. Your job depends on it. Number 2, Vic Fangio, Denver. You should have never left Chicago. You look like a bum. Number 1, Pete Carroll. He lost that locker room a couple of years ago. He still hasn't given Russell Wilson what he needed with an offensive line. That defense is trash, and you didn't re-sign KJ Wright. If you don't make the playoffs or have a losing record, are you going to keep Russell or are you going to keep Pete? I think it's time to kick out Pete.
And I came prepared. I was just serious. Mike McCarthy.
No, I got you, Megan. Trust me, I got you.
Alex said I came unprepared.
And as the only and listen, as the only person so far who stuck to the actual question, I want to say thank you. Ty didn't give me anything. John gave me the laundry list. Alex gave me his top 5. I didn't know we were turning this into the Alex Fleming segment, but I'll know better for next time. The question reads, which NFL coach? Next time I'll be more prepared. I'll put coaches. But Mike, which coach?
To answer your question, the coach is Zach Taylor. Now, to rebuttal these fools, Sean Payton, you're off your freaking rocker. 31 other teams would probably fire their head coach. Okay, 30. Probably not the Patriots. To get Sean. No, do not go because I'm not done, John. First of all. Secondly, Sean Payton, you're out of your mind. Mike Zimmer, I'm 50-50, but no, Mike Zimmer, if Kirk Cousins has a crap year, they get rid of Kirk Cousins, that defense improves like I think it will. There's no way you're getting rid of Mike Zimmer. But Matt Nagy should be number 1 on the list because, I mean, come on. Look, Matt Nagy's in a terrible spot, him and the GM. Because, look, everybody's talking about Justin Fields' great plays, and he did make some great plays the other day. Oh, except for not understanding where his line was shifting when he almost got himself killed, not once, but he got killed once. The second time, he just, got rid of the ball, and it was completed. If he's not picking up schemes like that, he's going to get killed. So, Eric, to your point, side note, if he starts against the Rams, he is going to get killed. Secondly, if you're Matt Nagy and you play Andy Dalton and you lose, they're going to say fire him. But if you start Justin Fields at the end of the season and they win, Matt Nagy's a genius because he made Justin Fields wait, even though I don't think Matt Nagy is a genius. But for Sean Payton, Mike Zimmer, come on, Mike McCarthy, I'm in the middle of the road. But to me, if he acts the same way he did last year, yes, fire Mike McCarthy. But I can't fully get on that yet, even though I wasn't the biggest fan of his signing, as you know, Eric. I mean, it's better than the Clapper. It is a step up. It's a lot of steps up.
He broke our running back.
Cincinnati is number 1. Cincinnati is number 1, and that's it. No,
I forgot.
Zeke's going to have a big year.
Yeah, I mean well, like I said, I forgot my notes. I just found them, but I did have John Gruden on mine. I mean, you don't bring somebody in signed to a big contract for mediocre. 7-9, 8-8. I think he needs to have a winning season. He needs to have a 10-win season, I think, this year. And then for me, I agree with everybody else on Matt Nagy. I agree with Mike about Sean Payton. I don't even know how you could say that name. And Alex, you said who was this you said? You said lost the locker room.
Zach Taylor, Don Zimmer, Matt Nagy, Vic Fangio, Pete Carroll.
Mike Zimmer.
Okay, that's who it was. And with the Pete Carroll, I don't know, man. He's been winning a lot. I mean, not winning a lot, but I mean they've had pretty good winning records. I couldn't see them going anywhere. Honestly, unless I don't even see that. I don't see any of those coaches in the NFC West going anywhere. Unless somebody just has a bad season, terrible season.
Can I ask one question? I'm very surprised at all of you on this panel tonight. And I just want to check something here before I open my mouth and insert foot, which I've done from time to time. How is nobody on this panel saying Dan Campbell? Please.
It's year one, man. It's year one.
Okay, but it's
like
but
Philly,
it's also year one for Urban Meyer.
Yeah, but Dan Campbell hasn't signed 10.
And I said something about that.
Eric, that wasn't even worth Alex's face said it all when John said Urban Meyer. That's not even worth addressing because he's not going anywhere. You don't do one and done. If you do that, yeah, people want 32 coaching jobs, but guess what? You're gonna get way down the list before you think Eric
Arizona Cardinals
would go to Detroit after Dan Campbell's one and done. So like Philly, Detroit, who else is first year? Obviously Jacksonville. Like all these first year coaches know.
Urban Meyer's not going anywhere.
Exactly. Thank you.
Hold on. I'm not saying Urban Meyer is or isn't going anywhere. What I'm saying is no one talked about one of the worst teams in the NFL in history, if you will. They have all the talent in the world, but they utilize them, abuse them, and then run them out the road.
Yeah, I don't know what Eric. The reason why a lot of teams, if you notice, a lot of guys that got picked is because of expectations. There's no expectations for the Lions.
None.
You see what I'm saying?
They expect them to be bad.
No, but that's what I'm saying. So she said the Cowboys because the Cowboys have a. She's saying the Cowboys because the Cowboys have a good roster, and they're expected to win that division. So if they don't, that's what she's saying. Just like with some of the names that Alex named, like, you expecting some of these teams to be good. Nobody expects Detroit to be good.
I don't expect Denver to be good. They got 7,000 quarterbacks.
I think a lot of people blame the franchise, instead of the coaching. And, they've had some good talent to your point, but they weren't full of talent. They've had a good player or two each year, but they have not had an entire, they had a great offense. No, Dallas has a good offense. So if they don't do well this season, it's a problem.
If they win six games, that's a win. Season.
Eric, in no way, shape, or form does anybody on this panel or yourself think that Detroit is a contender. Have you seen that roster? They just downgraded away from Matthew Stafford to Jared Goff. Can you name me 2 corners on that team? Hell, can you name me a starting wide receiver for that team? That team is trash.
But the way you're all talking but the way you're all talking is as if when we mention one of these coaches, we're saying they should be fired. We said on the hot seat, maybe lukewarm or hot seat. But you're talking as though we're talking about firing them. That's not firing them when you put them on the hot seat. There's a completely different thing when you put them on the hot seat than firing.
John, he shouldn't be on he shouldn't be on the hot seat for the simple fact that there's no expectations in Detroit.
Okay, what about Arizona?
They already have their coach in waiting and Anthony Lynn as the offensive coordinator. Why the hell are we even mentioning Detroit?
Okay, Arizona had no expectations, and after 1 year, they got rid of their head coach and went and got Cliff Kingsbury. Why?
That
was one and done.
I'll tell you exactly why he got canned.
Because
they were set up. It had nothing to do with that. He was qualified to be a head coach.
I mean,
when you come in,
kept his job forever.
Are you going to listen? When you come in and your whole defensive scheme is a 3-4 scheme, I know you think you can coach and everybody says, this and that, and everybody's trashing you and this and that. If you have a 3-4 scheme, you draft different than if you have a 4-3. It's totally different. And there's totally different guys on the outside. If you don't understand that, I can't help you. We had a 3-4 scheme here. He switched it to a 4-3. Those guys are not used to playing down. They're outside. And he decides that he's going to change it in his first year with the offseason, and they didn't have the personnel. And they won 3 games, John. So, yeah, I can see what you're saying. Nobody said Dan Campbell, Eric. But nobody's going in changing a whole defensive scheme. They see what players they have and what they did in the offseason. But anybody who's ever coached defense, even a freaking defensive line, especially a defensive line coach, will say, you want me to coach a 4-3 to that? We're gonna run a 4-3. And he was big on that. That's why That is exactly why he got canned. Plus, they didn't win crap, and they didn't look any better throughout any point of the season. They shouldn't have hired him in the first place. Has nothing to do with skin color. He said in his he had to have said like he wants to run a 4-3. When you don't have personnel for that, it doesn't matter. You're going to get killed. Thank you, Alex. You know you're going to get killed.
I'm curious how Adam Gase kept his job for so long. But other people are
that's an excellent. That is an excellent.
But no.
He's an
That's
elected
two
quarterback whisperer.
organizations that you're talking about that are always listed as trash. Detroit and the New York Jets are always listed as a trash organization that they're not run
as of
well.
late, yes.
That's what I mean. As of lately, in the last decade, that's where
you
they
have
went.
a trash tight ends coach from the New Orleans Saints getting an opportunity to coach a trash team in the NFC North. Hey, guys, fun fact. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have won more NFC North titles than the Detroit Lions in the last 25 years. Okay.
Yep.
Side note, Dan Campbell is one of the strangest people I have ever seen interview. If you ever want to in something interesting, man, he's very strange. I mean, it's interesting.
Okay.
But
I
watch him every time. It's like an accident.
I am going to attempt to curb this conversation. I just wanted to get everybody's opinion. So I want to transition to the last topic of the night. And I hope we all can be a little more positive and end on a good note with everybody here this evening. Let's talk about, since today, in fact, is his birthday, and I said it here at the top of the show, we want to show love to the Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant. He would have been 43 today, but I want to talk to y'all about his legacy. So if everybody could just take a moment and just tell me what Kobe Bryant meant to you as far as from the basketball perspective, or from what he did off the court with embracing and empowering women, I would love to hear from all of y'all. I'm going to start, of course, with our lady, Miss Megan Price, and just get your thoughts.
My appreciation of Kobe really came when he announced his retirement. He announced the season before that he was going to go ahead and retire, and that was going to be his last season. And as we watched him on the sidelines, he was very banged up. He had shoulders wrapped, knees wrapped. He was icing on the sidelines, and he was still showing up for every game that he was able to. And the rivalry between the Spurs and the Lakers is fierce. I'm a diehard Spurs fan, so it was really hard for me to really appreciate Kobe in his prime because he was constantly knocking my team out of the playoffs. These two, they met in the playoffs 7 times, and for 7 years straight, they both combined for straight finals from 99 to 05. When he announced it would be his last season, I knew that it was time to appreciate his play. And on February 6, 2016, he played his last game in San Antonio, and the tribute video at halftime had most of us in tears. But most importantly, I think what he was doing came later after he retired and when he was doing for women's ball. And for me, that means the world. So I think we have to not only honor his memory, but his work that he was doing with the WNBA.
All right, Tyree, you already got the hat on, brother, so I'm going to let you go ahead and do your thing, man.
Yeah, man. I kind of grew up on Kobe. Kobe came in the league in '96. I was just around like middle school age around that time. Well, I was getting to middle school age around that time. I fell in love with basketball around like 2000. I graduated in 2004. And Kobe was just a big influence. The Lakers have always been a big influence on me. Just the mentality, Mamba mentality. He's part of the reason why I'm a Lakers fan, and his death, it really hurt me. It really caught me by surprise. I even remember where I was at to this day and how everything went down. I just know that there'll never be another Kobe. A lot of guys kind of carry on his legacy somewhat in the league from training with him and kind of his mentality. But to me, he's one of a kind, you know what I mean? But, Kobe meant a lot to me.
All right, I'm going to go to John Shear next because Mike and Alex, I have stories with both of them with regards to Kobe. So let me go to John Shear next.
Yeah, like Ty had said, kind of growing up on him. That's when I started watching basketball late 90s. I'm obviously a Heat fan, as you can see, but I watched my uncles were Lakers fans, so I watched a lot of Kobe and Shaq. But I gained a lot of respect for him, not only on their three-peat and whatnot and all that, but I gained a lot of respect for him as he got further in his career and he started to really mature and he started to try and be a better person and tried to, do better based on what happened and maybe didn't happen early in his career. He really tried to mature as a person, and then just the love that he had for his children, for his daughter, Gigi. Like as a parent myself, I respect that, and just you respect somebody that is able to put. He's an all-time great. That didn't matter to him. What mattered to him was his family, and just stepping out of the spotlight, not to bring other parents into it, like LeBron. I've seen kind of some of the videos where him and like Drake and people like that just kind of come into like his son's game and they kind of make it about them. But I never saw that with Kobe. Like, he wanted to step out of the spotlight and let his daughter be the center of attention because, she earned it and that was her spotlight. And he realized he had his time. And I respect that because that's a lot of ego he could have. He's an all-time great, but yet he was able to step back and just say, this is my daughter's time. Just how it was able to grow and mature over the years. That really spoke volumes to me over all of the great things that he's done in the game of basketball. That was bigger than anything he's done. So I just respect him as a person more than a basketball player, just as a human being and a family man. I love that and I respect that. And, I remember exactly where I was. I woke up, got on Twitter, and I saw it trending, and I was like, no, this has got to be like one of those fake things. It can't be true. It cannot be true. And I scrolled and made sure I did my due diligence, and I was just devastated. I made sure I contacted my friend who I've known for forever and let him know, and it was devastating. I was, much like the rest of us, just hoping that it was one of those fake stories and that it wasn't true, but unfortunately, it was true. So that's what Kobe meant to me.
So I want to get Alex in here really quick because, like I said, with Alex and with Mike, I have specific stories. And I'll tell this one real quick and then I'll let Mr. Fleming take it from there. So Alex and I were, we were on our grind and we were doing the Magic Perspective with Alex and Eric. The Clippers were in town playing the Orlando Magic that night. And Alex was doing double duty. He had went to the Pro Bowl first, right down the street. And then he came over to the Amway Center and met me. And I'll let him tell from the NFL perspective what went down. But that night, I think we shared a moment of, it really put into, no pun intended, it really put into perspective how fragile life is. So we actually were at the game. We did the game. And I'll never forget saying this to Alex. We were in the hallway between locker rooms. And Doc Rivers, who at the time was the coach of the Clippers, he shut down the locker room that night. And he didn't allow the media access in there to talk to the players. He wanted to give them an opportunity to just really recollect on what had transpired. I don't think it hit them. And I saw media personnel run like it was a typhoon coming at them down to the Magic locker room. And I remember looking at Alex and I said this to him. I said, we are not going to be those people tonight. I said, I don't give a damn about a soundbite. I said, I don't give a damn about anything. We are going to let those players have their moment. We went on to the court. We paid our respects to Kobe. We did our game recap, and then we went home. And so, like I said, it was a pressing moment for me because like John and like everybody here, you didn't want to believe it. But we, at some point, we accepted it. With that, I'm gonna let Alex talk about it.
I was hyped up that morning, man. I was happy. It was Christmas. The Pro Bowl was in Orlando. I had access. I'm in the guys' locker room, AFC and NFC. Met El Freaky before I even interviewed El Freaky. Talked to Coach Harbaugh. Met Russell Wilson. He was a bit of he didn't want to talk. Speaking to the players on the field. Got a terrible towel from Cameron Haywood. It was Christmas. And then Darius Slay got the first tweet about it. And one tweet turned to 2 tweet, turned to 4 tweet, turned to 20 tweet. And now all of a sudden, what was a joyous occasion, it's like a black cloud was all over the place. I rushed up to the media center at the Pro Bowl, and we were like, this has to be a lie. This can't be real. And, media will find out information. We'll find it out quick. And we found out that it was real. It was a helicopter. We found the location, and the game just wasn't the same. The players were only going to go half speed anyway, but they didn't look like they were interested at all. Almost towards the second quarter, there's an announcement: Kobe Bryant killed, dead, helicopter crash, him and his daughter Gigi, and the other 7 passengers, because people like to complain that they never get mentioned. But I got to interview a lot of the players like Devontae Adams, Jason Kelsey, Justin Tucker, and a couple of other players at the Pro Bowl at the time. And Devontae knew Kobe because they would work out in the off season, and Kobe gave him some hints on how to stutter step in basketball and how to get open. Jason Kelsey is like, he's from Pennsylvania. He's an Eagles fan. I met Kobe. I know this guy, and this stuff hurts. So you could see how the players were just actually affected by his death. Once Slay announced to everybody, it was like it wasn't a time for a joyous occasion. Get out of the Pro Bowl at Tinker Field, drive down to the Amway Arena. It's a damn funeral. Nobody's talking to anybody. There's no excitement in the arena. Kawhi Leonard's playing angry basketball, dunking on people, shooting threes. Nobody was in their real groove. I got to see Doc Rivers, and he was beside himself because Kobe Bryant was like a second son to him. And it was disgusting what we saw with media trying to get a damn soundbite on a day where everybody should be mourning. Kobe Bryant was genuine on and off the field. He wasn't a damn mercenary. He was the closest thing to Michael Jordan that you can get. He didn't have to join 3 damn teams to get 4 or 5 titles. He believed in loyalty. He wanted to make his team better. He went 1 full game not shooting the ball 1 time to prove the organization just how important he was. He made an impact on everybody he met and people that he didn't meet. His legacy will live on. Rest in peace, Kobe.
So I saved Mike for last because Mike and I, we joke and we talk, and we'll go back and forth, Phillies and Eagles, Cowboys all the time. But if y'all don't know by now, this is my brother. The reason why I saved Mike for last is because Mike and I met at a sport conference in Los Angeles. And I still have the picture of me and Mike out in ESPN 7:10 a.m. Him and I sat around and we talked and we met some prominent people, but just that's where our relationship started, right outside the Staples Center. And, for everything that Kobe did, not only for the organization, but just for the world, when I look at this and I look at him, it just reminds me how truly precious life is and how valuable those people in your corner are to you, those real, genuine people. And I can honestly say from the bottom of my heart that Michael Caratanudo is one of those people. 12 years, we have been ripping and roaring and going at each other, but we've never lost sight of our true friendship. Anytime Mike calls me and needs me to be on his show and vice versa, we're there for each other. I say this from a personal place. This man has kept me going some years when I was like, I think I'm just going to turn away and give this up. I think, my sports days are over. Mike has been there to kind of kick me in my ass and remind me I'm not giving up. So neither are you. And I was like, okay. So, but I just want to say that to you, Mike, and then I'm gonna let you talk about Kobe, and then we're gonna get out of here. Real quick side note, I believe we're doing a smoking section tonight. I'm not doing it, but I think I got some guys in here who have something they can want to say. But Mike, I'm gonna let you close out the show tonight, brother.
Yeah, well, first of all, you're too kind. I don't think I have enough money to pay you for the wonderful compliments, but yes, you are the man. We had a great time and had a quiet dinner right across the street from the Staples Center at LA Live. But yeah, Kobe didn't shoot in the game here in Phoenix because it was so much, or not that he did. Well, he shot a lot less because people were on this kick of him being a ball hog and not distributing the ball. Well, Alex is right. If Kobe didn't score, but I met Kobe. I interviewed Kobe twice when I was a lowly intern, which was kind of funny because the first time I went into the locker room, I had to get it for the NBC affiliate in LA. And I walked in and he was like done. And I talked to the PR guy, introduced myself, said who I was. And he walked me over to Kobe. And I was like, yeah, I'm really sorry. And it was an intern. I introduced myself, asked a few questions, and he was very great. He was very gracious about it. And after we're done, he talked to me about what I was doing. He's like, oh, so you intern? I'm like, yeah, I don't know what part I want to get into, but I want to cover, sports. And I go, not think like everybody else. And he goes, oh, good for you. And we were just chatting for a few minutes. Didn't think anything of it. They come back in town. I think it was right before the season closed out, and the Suns actually got the win. And I got to talk to him. I had to interview him again. And this time, I got there and people were there, but our cameraman couldn't get in because the visiting team's locker room at the time was, not small, but obviously not like the home team where it's spread out. So and it was one of those things where he chatted with me. He's like, how's school? You're still want to do this. You're almost getting close to graduating, right? And I was just like floored that this guy who talks to, hundreds of, thousands of media members and goes all over and is just turning around talking to me like, we had a conversation on the phone, like we're friends, like we talk, a few times a week. And I was just like, I'm like, God, man, I'm like, oh, he's probably cocky, this and that. And we just were talking for about even 10, 15 minutes after the interview. He's just chatting with me and saw him a few times in the playoffs. But it was just, I always, again, couldn't, not being a Lakers fan, sorry, Ty, but like couldn't stand it because I knew he would always come up clutch. Kobe Bryant always came up clutch and anything he did. And I just, again, appreciate the fact that, like John was saying, obviously being a girl dad and basketball being a huge part of his life. But again, the winning an Academy Award and just kind of doing that thing and, seeing, unfortunately, Gigi pass away with him because, again, he wanted to, get to practice, get to a game, get to practice and not sit in LA traffic. But I laugh because, again, that's just Kobe. He did his thing. But to see him on the court, again, seeing him up close every time was just it was awesome. I mean, in my lifetime, I did get to see Kobe Bryant play and Michael Jordan play up close and personal. And I'm with Alex on that. It was the closest thing. I think since Jordan, just the way he carried himself, the way he could deliver, what he commanded expected from his teammates and how he commanded the court. I'll never forget that. But again, just that conversation with Kobe and seeing like what he did and what he became and how he was going forward, just absolutely awesome. So again, happy birthday and rest in peace because again, we lost, anybody pass away, you lose them too soon, but we definitely lost a great one in Kobe too soon.
This program contains graphic material, including offensive language. Viewer discretion is advised.
I got something real heavy to lay on you, man.
Now that's what I need.
Please feel free to join us in the smoking section because we with all the smoke.
For God's sake, strap yourselves down.
What's going on, y'all? It's your man Eric Wilson here for the smoking section tonight. My two gentlemen, John Shear, Alex Fleming, have a couple things they need to get off their chest. So we're going to let them do their things. As the disclaimer says, this is not for the sensitive ears. So if you are easily offended or someone who takes a personal slight at what these gentlemen say, well, you might want to take a look in the mirror because they might just be talking to you. With that, I'm going to go to my man, Mr. John Shear.
All right, I have two things that I want to say. First of all, putting out homophobic tweets or racist tweets or even saying that in general is just plain wrong. And anybody trying to defend that, we saw somebody in the media, somebody that works in the fantasy football industry, their past got dug up because they were kind of picking at people and they're kind of a bully on Twitter. And then they picked on the wrong person. The wrong person ended up digging up old tweets of them being homophobic and racist. Whether it's 1 year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you don't get away with it. And I saw people defending that, saying, well, that was 10 years ago, they didn't really know, or that was 6 years ago, they didn't really know. No, if you do it, you do it. And there should be no getting away with it. If you do it, that's wrong. You should lose your job. I don't agree with doing any of that. It's 2021. We're better than that. We should be better than that. So I'm not at all for people losing their jobs. Everybody's trying to make their money and stuff like that. But I'm glad that person got fired, because they deserve to get fired whenever they act like POS. So that's how I feel about that. And then another thing I wanted to touch on, because I'm getting sick of this. We saw it in the NBA, and now we're seeing the NFL. Fans just acting like fools. I mean, we saw in the NBA where fans had been throwing stuff a while ago at players, which is terrible. Now fans are back and they're getting in fights in the stands. I mean, we have fans back after COVID. You should be thankful you get to be back in the stands at all. We didn't know if we would ever get that again when COVID hit. And we're finally back in the stands. And all we see is fan fight after fan fight. We see guys beating up another dude 4-on-1, 5-on-1. If you're going to fight somebody in a fan fight, which I don't agree with, but if you're going to fight them, go out and fight them 1-on-1. Don't 4 of you or 5 of you jump on one guy. When that guy's beating the crap out of 4 of you, and then another guy's to jump in and you all beat this guy up, that's wrong. No, get a life, man. If you guys are going to fight at a game, I don't care who you are, get out. You don't deserve to be at a game, because, it's a privilege, man. I know we pay for the money to get in there, but it doesn't give you the right to be a jackass. So fan fights and homophobic, slurs, racial slurs, anything like that has no place. No place, not in the industry, not anywhere. Get out with all that garbage. So that's what I got to say.
I want to talk about Shohei Ohtani, and I want to use this voice and think that since I've been in my career for more than 19 years, that I can't face any repercussions. That's Jack Morris of the Detroit Tigers, who was an ass and has something strange to say about Shohei Ohtani, the best thing since Babe Ruth. Guys, fun fact, Babe Ruth didn't play against anybody black. He didn't play against any Hispanics. And if he played in today's time, if his ass would have been in shape, he would have been a common player. He died at the age of 53 and he looked awful. Fat, out of shape, smoking cigarettes and drinking. Why are you going to take shots at Shohei Ohtani, who not only leads the league in home runs, but happens to have an excellent pitching record? Because he looks different? Because he's foreign? Would you have done that to Ichiro Suzuki? No, Mr. Morris. And I don't give a damn that you've been in the MLB for 18, 19, 20 years. You let your true colors show. Like a lot of these people on these keyboards and social media, you should be punished to the fullest extent. But speaking of punished, now it's entertainment too. I want to let y'all know that there's going to be a Captain America 4. I should say Captain Puerto Rico, because that's what his suit looks like. It looks like a Puerto Rican flag, but that would be racist of me to say. But what's really racist to say is that you're not going to watch Captain America 4 because this Captain America doesn't have superpowers. Wait a minute. Batman doesn't have superpowers. Hawkeye doesn't have superpowers. Tony does have a suit, but he doesn't have superpowers. But you didn't boycott them. But since Captain Puerto Rico doesn't have superpowers, now you're not interested in watching a Marvel film? Guys, let's be real. What's the real reason why you're not going to watch Captain America 4? Because you can't daydream and orgasm over your boy Scott, Steve, whatever the hell, Evans? Because he's not clear-cut, beach blonde, and has blue eyes? No, you're boycotting Captain America 4 because he kind of gives you flashbacks of 8 years before the 4 years of hell that we just went through. And you can't stand to see somebody who looks like me in a position of power. He's savvy, he has tech, and he trained his ass off to carry and embed that shield. And if you actually read in the canon, Steve Rogers actually gives the shield to Sam to become Captain America. He even screws Lady Thor, but that's a whole different direction because you daughters don't want to hear that. So if your ass is too sensitive to see people like me in positions of power, maybe you should go back to your country